What's up YouTube? Photoshoot here and I'm back with paper content finally. Didn't have a good occasion to record a game or um, yeah, profile anything because there wasn't anything that I would have liked to profile. Definitely, there will definitely come up another deck profile about a certain FTK deck which I piloted over the last couple of months. But this will be a bit later. Today I got inspired by Tyler from TCG Rewind to profile my own psychic deck, uh, which is actually Tyler's exact list, but I like to show off nice cards. So yeah, I think that's enough to justify the deck profile, and also it makes the psychic deck profile well known. Tyler actually did a guide for this deck, so if you want to check it out and learn even more about psychics, then definitely check out his video. Link is in the description. But without further ado, let's get to this deck profile. Psychic is a very cool rogue deck. I think a deck that is particularly weird to play, or should I say a bit more difficult, since the floater chains are actually not that complex, but I think it's a deck that punishes you very hard for some missteps, especially in harder matchups like the Chaos matchup. You're pretty much reliant on your floaters pretty much staying on the field, and if that gets interrupted by your opponent, it's really hard for the deck. Um, the deck is a bit more known actually for Top Sport in a different format, which was Jeff Jones' Grand Source Psychic deck, which was, I think, at YCS Providence 2012. Um, so Jeff Jones had access to Grand the Elemental Lord, which is specifically very powerful for this deck. Monster Reborn is one hell of a card, and having access to it in monster form helped the deck a lot. Also, Psychic has a great grave control, so yeah, that checks out for Grand Sword as well. But we're not talking about the 2012 version of Jeff Jones, we are talking about the 2011 version, which generally lacks the power plays of the Grand Sword deck, but still has that nice consistency thanks to the floaters, especially Serene Psychic Witch, which floats in the Asperger. Nearly all of your cards, or all of your Psychic cards, gets you something back. Only problem I see with this deck is that it lacks a bit of power without non-engine cards. Reborn Tango is a no-brainer in this deck, obviously, but are some options you need to consider when you play this deck. Some people play with Tour Guide, which is fine actually. It takes away a lot of the extra deck space, which is already very tight, especially if you run the Miracle Synchrofusion packet, which we are still piloting here. But I generally feel like you need to add another engine which synergizes with the deck very well. We saw Nordics as an option, but I'm not sure about that one. The main issue, it synergizes well with your floaters, but I generally I'm not too hyped about it. But we will see. Maybe someone will top with it. I mean, we saw a Gravekeeper Nordic deck recently winning one of our tournaments. Tyler decided to play a TG engine, which I think is pretty good in this deck. Synergizes with Cut-Off Creature Swap as well. TG Werewolf is a great extender, works super well with Asperger, and the deck is still not doesn't get that much wrecked by Maxi. So even if you are getting Maxied, maybe on your Striker special summon or on your Asperger effect, you don't have to chain the Werewolf. You can just chill with your recruiters and pretty much grind it out from there. Like you are not forced that much to play that hard in a Maxi. So I think it's a great deck. It has its hard matchups, especially the Asian and the Chaos one. But I think when it's piloted well, it can be certainly one of the most powerful rogue strategies in this format. Um, but until then, we will see if the deck gets any great results. Maybe in Tangomania, question mark. But yeah, Tangomania 2 weeks away from now. So we will see if the Psychic deck can actually top here, which would be the first top. Which is quite a shame since the deck is pretty much underplayed, but I think it has lots of potential. So without further ado, let's get to the deck profile of the TG Psychic deck. Enjoy. So let's get to the deck profile. So first you got the most important monster of this deck, which is Serene Psychic Witch. So when Serene is destroyed, you can banish one of your psychic monsters and special summon it next turn in the standby phase. So what this card does, oh, and by the way, it has to be 2,000 or less attack, so no overdrive, teleporter shenanigans. So what this card basically does is either can float into another witch, which keeps your a floater on board, or can float into another card, which is pairs very well with our Serene Psychic Witch, which is Asperger. Asperger's effect is when this card is special summoned, you can remove from play the top card of your deck, which you sadly can't look at in September 2011. So this was changed. I feel like when Desires was a card, you could look at your banished pile, but you can't do that in September 2011. So your card is basically a Pokemon prize. So what this card can do, it can be special summoned by Serene Psychic Witch, banish the top card of your deck, and when this card gets sent to the graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. So when you follow it up with your synchro play, you can basically draw a card. So yeah, those are the most important ones. This one is we don't want to draw this, by the way, most of the time. I mean, it's still a level 2 tuner, so it's not the end of the world, but yeah, Asperger is at its best when she gets special summoned by Serene Psychic Witch. The other psychics are 1 and 2 Silent Psychic Wizards. So this card can banish a psychic monster from your graveyard when it's normal summoned, and when this card gets removed from field, you can special summon that monster. So you can see like a recurring factor of this deck, like the banish gimmick and floating into another cards. The reason why you only run this at 2 is that it's kind of mediocre in your starting hand. I mean, it's a 1900 beater, which is really good. Like, especially if you have a Serene already in your graveyard, you have to face a Thunder King. You cannot just normal summon this, banish the Serene, double with the Thunder King, and get back a Serene Psychic Witch. So lots of ways to get value of it. Also when it's synchroed away. So we get those, and then the last two are just generic tuners, or better known. This not only is a generic tuner for the Psychic deck, but it is also has also a very powerful effect. So you can pay 5,000 life points and basically do a creature swap with your opponent, and also this being a level 2 tuner. So this being able to get recruited by Serene Psychic, which also very powerful. The creature swap effect pairs super well with your floaters. Then we have Psychic Commander, which is the Earth tuner, and was played in older Psychic decks as well. Yeah, it's a level 3 tuner aspect. Also gives you more options. Also like the jumper, or almost every of these Psychic cards getting special out of your deck. It's a great option. So that's why I run those at 1. And that's like the only Psychics. So we're not playing Hushed Psychic Cleric, and we're not playing Overdrive Teleporter, which is a card in Edison, but Edison doesn't have Warning and Effect Veiler, so yeah. And also Maxi to some extent. So we do, this deck is plays pretty well into Maxi, so we don't need to change that. Then, as I already mentioned, the TG engine, triple Werewolf and double Striker. Werewolf pairs incredibly well with Asperger, so when you special summon the Asperger, you can also special summon your TG Werewolf. And then also floats into TG Striker. Striker also a great fit with this deck since it's an Earth tuner and it's basically a Cyber Dragon. Also, the TG engine gives you access to Wonder Magician. They unfortunately they have to be destroyed per battle, so they don't float like the Psychic monsters. So when you sync with them, you can't get another search, but that's completely fine. I think especially them being floaters is a great fit for this deck. And pairs with your Psychic engine pretty well. Then more non-ninja cards. What is the price? A floater. Probably the best floater of this format. Yeah, I don't think I have to explain why Weaver Tango is a great fit in this deck. So many common potential. Also gives you really good access to Trishula. And then cards which are not floaters. Tyler I like to run, I think, Triple Effect Veiler. I'm not a big fan of Triple Effect Veiler. It has its spot in the deck, and Double Effect Veiler is definitely needed in this deck to protect you from stuff like Chaos and Chaos Sorcerer, and also the big raid boss of the format, be like Lester Soldier. But I think running this at 2/2 also fine. I mean, the Earth typing of Maxi even can come up. But at worst, this is an upside goblin. So I feel like running 2/2 is justifiable. Maybe you could, if you expect more hero, you can even cut this down to 1. But I don't think I would add a third Maxi. I would maybe add another protection card. Fiendish Chain might be also an option. I like that card in scraps a lot, but I haven't become around to testing that much. And we just run a Mono Sangan, no tour guide, but I feel like this is literally the only deck where normal Sum Sangan is actually valid, since you have a lot of stuff already floating around, especially if you can get if you float into a tuner. This as a normal sum becomes a great option. Can search follow up, can search Maxi or Effect Veiler, and instantly gives you a level 5 with Jasper. So that were the monsters. Then we go to the spells. Double MST. Double Miracle Synchrofusion. So this is a very interesting card. Jeff Jones also played it in his Grand Soul list. So at this specifically does is it summons Ultimate Axon Kicker, which I show later, which is a Psychic Fusion monster, which of course includes a Synchro Monsters material, or a Psychic type Synchro monster for that case, and also a non-Psychic type monster. So it's basically a Miracle Fusion, which is probably less life than the original Miracle Fusion, but this is not only the only thing this card can do. It also says when it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can draw 1 card, so you can set this sometimes and bait your opponent into a heavy storm and then just replace itself as an upstart, just in case you're not in need of having this in the hand and don't see it getting life anytime soon. So yeah, this is literally the Mystical Space Typhoon bait card, but Ultimate Axon Kicker, or Ass Kicker we call him, is a card. Then we got the Sparrows. We just play like good main deck staples. This card is busted in this deck. I think it's obvious why, and I can never draw this card, but this card is might be the best spell of this deck. yeah, emergency teleport. Also one hell of a card. In my testing games, I've never been able to draw this card, which is actually hilarious. But yeah, it's your ceiling goes through the roof when you resolve this card. Summoning from deck is generally surprisingly very powerful. And for the last card, we play a random creature swap, which also works well with your floaters again. Also another thing, like this is the second creature swap behind, um, besides Psychic Jumper. So yeah, you just play the one. I don't like running two. I mean, this is basic. It is Tyler's list. It is not mine, but I don't think running two is that great. It's a cloggy card if you draw multiples of them and don't have a good way to use them. So yeah, and traps are not that particularly interesting. We run just the Mirror Force because it's more of a Flower Trap, and then it does shoot. I kind of split about this card since the psychic deck is very slow, but if you go off, then having information about your hand is pretty good. So it's a deck that can be able to go off, but yeah. You could also consider cutting this, and then one Call of the Haunted. Tyler mentioned in his guide for psychics that this card is also Misty Baiter. I mean, it chaining this to one of the psychic floaters to an MST or to a Heavy Storm. Generally very powerful. So yeah, I think I like this deck a lot. Like a lot of the cards just fit so well with each other. So yeah, that was the main deck. Now let's go to the extra deck. Yeah, Trishula, which you can summon quite a lot in this deck. Then 48s, Grab Dragon, Stardust, and Fort Ruler. Fort Ruler is an interesting one since this card doesn't normally in most of the other decks just protects itself, but here you can also protect your psychic monsters. So if you're able to summon have a Fort Ruler at a float on your board and you're afraid of a Dimensional Prison, for example, this card also protects other psychic monsters. So yeah, that's like a cool fact. Then we just play the one Black Rose Dragon as a 7. Psychic Life Transfer, which is a bad card at first, but you need it for the Miracles in Confusion. And I think if you have to go into 7, it's better most of the time if you just need a beta to summon this. Also, the life points effect can come up, banishing your stuff, maybe setting up a Levier play is something that could happen, but yeah. I mean, you basically play it because since it's a psychic monster. Then one Brian Egg, one Psychic Nightmare, same reason. A Psychic Life Transfer, but this can also become a huge beat stick. And it's also nice looking in Secret Rare, so I don't think you need more reasoning behind that. Then yeah, we play Net Beast, which is probably maybe the most powerful. I mean, you have Catastrophe and Librarian as competition, but yeah, if you can make this card, it's a no-brainer to put in. So yeah, it completely turns off spell cards. This card is still even played in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, aged extremely well. Then one Catastrophe, one TG Wonder Magician. That's the cool thing about the TG engine. It's also a card that lets you draw a card if it gets destroyed. Backropop is useful, and it's also a synchro tuner. So yeah, lots of stuff you can do with the TG engine. You have access to this card thanks to the Wolf and the Striker. And then one Android. Yeah, you basically run this over Librarian since it's a psychic monster for the Miracles in Confusion. If you want to go into timeout, I guess, then it's something that could come up. I mean, that's the same reason for Psychic Life Transfer, which was a card that was played last year, I think. So, yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, it's basically has the same stats as Librarian, and I don't think you're going to uh, summon lots of synchros in one turn. So yeah, Android fits the deck a bit better. And for the Exceeds, you're not going to go into a lot of XYZs, but yeah, you play Utopia as a beat stake. You play Levier instead of Leviathan, since that also synergizes with your deck, and yeah, you're just also running the ultimate Axon Kicker. So yeah, this is the card we are going to summon Wonder Miracle with our Miracle Synchro Fusion. And generally a beast and an attack. In fact, can also come up. Yeah, not a lot of stuff can out it. Besides most of the traps, but yeah, I think it's generally like a card like yeah. I like to compare it with summoning foreign Nordics, which where you cry when it gets outed. But this card is less of an investment. So yeah, that was like a joke we made like a couple of weeks when I first put this on board. Unfortunately, I lost that game, but yeah, summoning this is feels very satisfying. Not gonna lie. So yeah, that was it with the deck profile of the Psychic TG Psychic deck. If you want to have a more in-depth guide, definitely check out Tyler's video. He generally has a bit more knowledge about this than me, since he also built the deck and made like the chains with the TGs. I think it's a super solid deck, and it's extremely fun to play. So yeah, if you liked it, give this deck definitely a try. So that was it. Hopefully we get to see more paper content on this channel again. I'm working on it, but yeah, it might take some time. Until then, see you soon and see ya.